Greetings, netizens, and without our civilization not being the first advanced on the planet, there could have been a previous civilization even more advanced than ours. This possibility might seem logical. Earth has a history of 4.5 billion years, while our young industrial civilization has only existed for 300 years. Despite this short span, we have managed to develop a large number of technological artifacts. When considering alien or intelligent life, we generally think of beings outside of Earth on distant planets and remote galaxies. However, it is plausible that millions of years ago, even before the arrival of humans, there existed a terrestrial civilization whose traces have been lost over time. In this video, I will present the evidence of ancient technology and what science thinks about it. You will likely see the history of our planet in a very different way. For there to have been a highly advanced civilization, the first hominids similar to humans emerged over 3 million years ago, and Homo sapiens about 300,000 years ago. That's quite a long time for a technological culture to have developed, even one that may have succumbed over time. We should find their remains somewhere. Although it may seem absurd, the scientific community has considered this and delved into fossil records. According to a scientific study published in the journal Astrobiology called the Silurian Hypothesis, which posits whether it would be possible to detect an industrial civilization in the geological record. This hypothesis gives the example of a fictitious race of intelligent reptiles and birds that developed on Earth before humans. This became a reality in the science fiction series. L. Smith, director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, found this idea fascinating because there is a part of Earth's history where carbon levels soared, ecosystems were destroyed, and there was global warming. This happened 56 million years ago, known as the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. It's inevitable to find similarities with our current era, the Anthropocene, as if a civilization began massive industrialization. There's no conclusive explanation for this phenomenon. One hypothesis is that igneous rock in the North Atlantic expanded into organic sediment, heating it and releasing carbon. Adam Frank, an astrophysicist at the University of Rochester, thinks that if a civilization polluted the atmosphere, there should be geological traces somewhere, traces of their industrial activities. One of the keys is to understand how often intelligent life can develop and how it can lead to an industrial civilization. This study is crucial because it could have implications for future exploration of other planets and the search for intelligent life. We know that Venus and Mars were habitable for a time, perhaps not long enough to give rise to intelligent life, but enough for microorganisms to appear. The only way to know if another intelligent species existed on our world is to observe ourselves. An intelligent species makes a lot of noise, leaves waste everywhere from its activities, and shapes its environment. We are a geophysical force. Our presence is recorded in carbon, oxygen, and nitrogen isotopes. If we were to become extinct tomorrow, how long would our remains last? Human fossils can last hundreds of millions of years, as evident in the fossil and archaeological records we have. So far, they show a gradual evolution of life. We have found primitive organisms from over 700 million years ago and how they have gradually changed into more complex life, such as mammals and hominids from a few million years ago. Structures and artifacts. Human structures like buildings, bridges, and monuments are susceptible to erosion and degradation. They can be located by a later civilization millions of years later. Modern technology and objects are created by humans. Plastics and electronic products degrade more rapidly compared to other materials and last less than a cycle. Although their materials could last a few thousand years, other metal tools to manufacture them could be found with indirect evidence millions of years later, such as drastic changes in climate, anomalies in sediments, or traces of nuclear waste. The longer a technological civilization lasts, the easier it will be to find its remains in the future. If a technological civilization seemed fleeting 56 million years ago and produced technological inventions, there may be no remains that we can recover. Its elements will have melted into the environment or turned into something else. We should find isotopic proportions, for example. Plutonium-244 has a half-life of 80 million years, or even curium-247 would indicate the presence of a nuclear footprint, and they could be buried deep in the ocean floor. As for the effect we produce on the environment, we are continuously burning over 500 million tons of coal, oil, and natural gas. This can alter the proportion of carbon-12 and 13 in plants, which could be located for millions of years. The fertilizers we use in agriculture based on hydrogen can be detected in the fossil record for over 1 billion years. What I'm going to tell you now is fascinating because it represents artifacts that evidence a more advanced technology than the era in which they were built. The Antikythera mechanism is like a rudimentary analog computer from the 2nd century BC, with gears that modeled the movement of the planets. It was too advanced for its time. What it most resembles in our world is a Swiss watch. The astronomical clock, manufactured by the engineer and astronomer Giovanni Dondi, is impressive and designed in the 14th century, with planetary gears that changed the movement of the sun and moon, much more advanced than any other clock of its time. The Baghdad battery, with around 2,000 years of antiquity. Some of these clay jars with asphalt plugs and iron rods are capable of generating between 1 and 2 volts of electricity. Its particular use is still unknown, and no one else has found anything similar. This is the Eon steam engine. It's impressive that almost 2,000 years ago, Hero of Alexandria laid the foundations of the steam engine and the Industrial Revolution. Adyasari's mechanical books. These automatons and mechanical instruments were designed by this brilliant Muslim scientist of the 12th century, showing advanced mastery of mechanics, engineering, and even hydraulics. The pyramids of Egypt are another impressive achievement of human creative capacity. Dated from 2550 to 2490 BC, the construction of the pyramids aimed to be funerary monuments and required a great deal of manpower and organization. It is estimated that thousands of workers, from masons to laborers, were involved in the process. The precise details of how some aspects of the construction were carried out are still the subject of research and debate in the scientific community. This represents the enormous creative ability of ancient humans. Many advanced inventions did not thrive because it was not a technological world like ours. Religious fanaticism spread like an epidemic for thousands of years, and much of the ancient knowledge was buried and forgotten. Some of these inventions were censored, labeled as evil or satanic. Even others were used to entertain kings. It was evident that advanced technology was not understood, and they did not know how to take advantage of it as we do today. Still, all those inventions I have mentioned, and many others, were built with materials of the time. There is nothing strange about it. They were designed with the utmost knowledge of the time. In other words, we cannot find a laser beam in a Mayan tomb simply because to have a laser, you should have everything necessary to manufacture it beforehand. A laser doesn't come out of nowhere. You need several technologies over time to make it possible, such as refined materials, quantum scientific theories that made nuclear fission possible, advanced engineering, industrialization, and so on. If there were technological devices much more advanced than ours, we should see other traces of the industries necessary to make it possible. This has not yet been located in any fossil record. Nor have we found evidence that another species has developed intelligence. Dinosaurs were on our planet for about 160 million years and did not develop intelligence even comparable to primates. But here's a fact that intrigues us, and that is time. The older a civilization is, the harder it will be to locate its remains. Science is clear about this. There has been enough fossil carbon to fuel an industrial civilization, at least since the Carboniferous period, which dates back about 350 million years. But the problem, as we have discussed, is that technological artifacts last very little time, and the Earth constantly undergoes changes and erosion processes. In short, there is no evidence of other advanced, non-human intelligent species, not even of our ancestors, in the fossil record of sediments, and this is really important. Beyond 100 million years ago, we have serious difficulties in finding advanced technology, which suggests that it is unlikely, although not impossible, that it existed, and its fossil remains are buried underground. If someone from space visited us 1 billion years ago, we would also have no evidence of their existence. If there was a technologically advanced civilization more than 100 million years ago, it would completely change what we know about evolution and life on our planet. For now, it seems likely that we are a first-generation intelligent industrial civilization, and that there have been no others that have reached our technological level in the history of the Earth. But there have been advanced civilizations thousands of years ago that continue to surprise and intrigue us. Ancient Egypt, the Sumerians, Greek culture, Hellenism, and the Roman civilization still amaze us with their incredible achievements. When we become extinct, we will have works and samples of our activities on our planet, even in space for a while. I hope and wish that others will remember us for our achievements, and not for our destructive power. We live in such an immense and changing cosmos that in several billion years, every trace of our activity will have disappeared forever. Who knows if other beings will remember us on the grand cosmic stage? I look forward to your comments and whether you think we are the only industrial civilization or if there have been others. Give it a like, subscribe, and share on social media. A cosmic hug to everyone.